Welcome to Resilience in Life and Leadership with your host, Stephanie Olson, speaker, author, addiction, sexual violence, and resiliency expert. Hi, I'm Stephanie Olson. Welcome to Resilience in Life and Leadership. I am very happy to have Jenny Toh with us. Jenny is an ICF ACC coach who is the director of River Life Coaching, her life coaching practice where she coaches individuals to define success on their own terms, personally and professionally. Jenny is passionate about empowering introverted women to remain authentic. She is also a lawyer and a mother of three in Singapore. Welcome, Jenny. Hello, and welcome to Resilience in Life and Leadership. And I am here with Jenny Toh. Jenny, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on.
Hi, Stephanie. Yeah, thanks for having me. And even before we started recording, we were discussing what time zones are we in?
Yes.
So
You are in a very different time. So you are in Singapore and I am in Omaha, Nebraska. So it's 8 a.m. where you are.
Correct.
And it's 7 p.m. where I am. So
yeah, it's amazing, right? And when I've done podcasts for hosts in the US, it always seems to be my morning. So I'll tell them, I already know the future, so it's Friday morning over here.
Oh,
it's bright and sunny.
How is that going to go for me? Is tomorrow a good day?
It's going to be fine. Yes, it
Excellent.
is.
Okay, that is good to hear. Any lottery tickets I should try?
I wish, I wish I could tell you that. All I can tell you is the weather will be good.
Okay. Well, if it is, then you are a miracle worker because it's failing where I am right now.
So. All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's wonderful that we can connect, right?
Yes,
with technology and yeah.
I love it. I love the fact, COVID was a horrible thing. The pandemic has been terrible, but I think the one thing it has really given us as a world is just the ability to connect. We had that ability, but people weren't using it to their full advantage. And so to be able to have conversations, with you in Singapore and me in Nebraska, that would have been unheard of years ago. It's fantastic.
And I believe that, because we're both humans, right? There are commonalities. So let's see what we can explore. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So I absolutely love what you're doing because I have not heard a whole lot about coaches that are specifically coaching introverted women. And I think that is absolutely, it's absolutely fantastic. And really what a great niche that you are in. So tell me, how did you come to this place in your life?
Okay. So that's like my story. I will,
Loaded
try and keep it as short.
Right? You're good.
Yeah. I'm like trying to think, how can I shorten that? So, to your listeners, I didn't start off as a life coach. I am still a lawyer. So I've been in the legal industry for more than 25 years. I still do some legal consulting business on the side because that is what challenges me intellectually. So that's the rational part of me that's being stimulated. I went into coaching because I'm a Christian and I believe that this is what God has called me into in this season of my life. So of course he called me some time back, but me being rational and practical, I have a full-time job. I've got a family with 3 kids. I'm like, no, right? No, what are you asking me to do?
Right.
Yeah, no. I'm in my comfort zone. Things are going well. Don't talk to me about coaching. But the seed was planted, the desire to coach, and I find opportunities to coach in the organizations, although informally. And I find that really energizes me when I see my subordinates getting from a good place, getting from good to great and being unstuck. So I'm thinking, okay, there is definitely something there. But there's also that fear of like, do I really want to go into this all of myself into it? So it was around 2018 that I felt that I can't put it off any longer. So I discussed with my husband, we prayed about that. And that's when I decided to start training as a coach. So being a lawyer, as you know, Stephanie, has a lot of things you need to comply with, education, certification, and all that. And when I researched on what does it take to be a life coach, because I didn't want to be an executive coach, I really wanted to impact people from the perspective of their life, on the day-to-day. And I found courses on Facebook. It's like, okay, sign up for a $14.99 course and become a coach. I'm like, that's not for me. So I found this global organization called International Coaching Federation. So they don't run courses, but schools are accredited by them. And then from their website, I found a list of schools that are accredited. I explored them. I wanted to actually study in Singapore itself. However, the face-to-face classes for people who are working is at night, and I couldn't see how I could balance that because I need to be home with my kids and my family. So I discovered this school in Australia, and this was before COVID. And I was thinking, is this a scam? Because the investment's quite big, and it's all done virtually. So the lady, the salesperson, was based in Hong Kong. I had lengthy conversations with her. And she said in the third sales call, she said, Jenny, why don't you take the leap of faith? And that was just it. I'm like, why am I doubting so much? So I went into the training that took about a year, and I got credentialed shortly after that. And I was planning to launch my business in 2020 without knowing that the pandemic hit. So the pandemic hit, and I asked God, do I do this or do I still wait? Then I reflected, I've actually waited quite a bit before I started this journey. And I just decided, okay, let's just do it because he's brought me this far. So let's just do it. And Stephanie, if I had waited, I'll still be waiting now, right? Because the pandemic isn't officially. So my business, I'm happy to say, is actually 2 years old now because I started in April 2020. So it's 2 years old now.
That's amazing.
So that's how I became a life coach. And in the beginning, when you're new and you're starting out your business, you just wanted to coach everyone because there's this fear, like, if I don't open up to everyone, no one's going to know me. But that's the reverse is actually more true, because when you get very focused on your message, who you are really, passionate about serving. It's not that I don't coach other people, but because I'm an introvert myself and I know the struggles that an introvert goes through, that's when I feel that, I don't want other introverts out there to feel that no one understands us, right? No one really gets us. So I may not have the same life experiences as each introvert because we're all different, but I do have some inkling of what goes on in their thinking and what they believe and all that. So that's why, I'm putting myself out there as a coach for introverts. However, the funny story is that my first client is an extrovert.
Is that right?
Yes, that was in I think in July when I first started, and she saw me posting in LinkedIn, about women empowerment and about introversion, and she scheduled a discovery call with me, and she said, Jenny, first off, I need to confess, I'm an extrovert. Is that okay? then I didn't want to tell her then that you're my first client. So yes,
that's funny. Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it. And she's been a very faithful client. She's been promoting me on her own accord, and things like that. And I really see that, she's coaching has really benefited her as a person, and there's a positive ripple effect around her because of the changes in her. So again, as you can sense, I'm very passionate about coaching because I believe in the good work that it does in people.
I love that. So how do people find you? So you said you were on LinkedIn and she reached out to you. Is that typically how you promote your business?
Yes, so I'm on LinkedIn. I am also on Facebook, but I guess because I coach introverted professional women, they tend to hang out in LinkedIn more often. Not to say that I don't have followers in Facebook. So they can find me under River Life Coaching. That's my business. And also my name, Jenny Toh, T-O-H. And I have a website, www.riverlifecoaching.com. I also run free webinars on, I'm quite passionate about women empowerment as well. So I run free webinars on gender bias issues. I did quite a lot of free webinars during International Women's Day last month, and that had quite a good turnout. So that one, it's not a marketing gig or stint for me. I'm doing it because I'm quite passionate, but it also helps because it gets people to know me. Because if someone wants to partner with me as a coach, they need to know me first, right?
Absolutely.
So this kind of platform will get to know me, and that's why I'm also doing podcasts, so that people can know me and see who I really am.
That is great. That is great. And hard for an introvert, right? I mean, that is challenging. So I love that actually, and coaching is, although it's it's, one on work, and it's really about really getting the people you're coaching to determine what they need for their life. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, it would be worthwhile for me just to explain a bit the differences between counseling, coaching, mentoring, right? And consulting. So consulting is quite easy because I don't think people confuse coaching with consulting. Consulting training is like, I hire you, Stephanie, you come in and you give me a solution. So there's no even talking about, what can Jenny do? It's like, what can Stephanie provide for this situation? And you provide a solution. So that's consulting. And training, of course, is teaching. Mentoring is more like you are 5-10 years ahead of me in the same career or in the same organization, and you mentor me by sharing your wisdom and your advice. So the hierarchy, there's not say a parent-child, but the mentor is usually more
authority and
Yes. Although there's this trend now about reversal mentor, which an older person gets mentored by a younger person because the younger person is much more tech savvy in this. So I've been reading articles about reversal mentoring, which is quite interesting. So sometimes things have changed, right? So that's mentoring. And the closest two professions is probably being a therapist, counselor, and a coach. And they often overlap because both help the individual get to a better place. The easiest way to understand it is for counseling is a deep-rooted emotional issue, pain, or trauma. And the counselor really goes back to the past, helps you understand when was the first time this happened to you, and what went there and what was going on. And it's not that coaching doesn't explore anxiety or stress, or some people say I've got a mild case of depression, but actually they just had a bad day. So we do go back in a bit just to explore. But when I hear that the issue is really deep rooted, I will ask that person, have you seen a therapist? Would you consider seeing a therapist? Because I'm not a licensed counselor or therapist. I can't do that. So I am quite mindful about that. So they want the person to heal from that emotional pain. And if that person has healed, then the person's like, okay, I think I'm in a good place now, but I really don't know what to do next. And that's a good partnership with a coach. Coach can come in and help you. Okay, so you are dealing with things, you seem to be better. Now you want to move forward, whether in life, whether in career, or whether in your personal growth. So a coach comes and helps you reflect on what you appreciate today. So I really like to encourage my clients to appreciate their present, because sometimes we're thinking, we regret our past, we look forward to our future, we kind of forgot what's happening to us right now. And like today, now, doesn't matter. I just want to look forward, or I'm looking at the back all the time, right? So a lot of my coaching sessions, I ask them, what's going well for you today? And that stops them because they really have to think, okay, what's going well? But when they reflect what's going well, the energy changes and they're more positive. And then we can say, okay, today's good. What do you think can be better next month? What do you hope to achieve next month? So coaching moves forward and is more forward looking. It's not that we always push the clients to set goals moving forward. But I also realized that if you're moving through life aimlessly, without a purpose, without goals, then every day just seems meaningless. So at least if you have a goal, there's something to work towards too. It's just human nature.
That's great. So what is an introvert? I know we hear about introverts, and there are so many people who would say they're introverts, but you might look at them and one of them say, no, you are not an introvert. So what is an introvert?
Okay, I'll explain what I've read and what I understand and what I experienced myself, and you tell me whether that's you or not. So an introvert, a lot of people say, oh, they're shy. So yes, I was a shy kid, but shyness is something you can learn to outgrow, because as you grow older, you gain confidence and you see life differently. You can overcome shyness. Introversion and extroversion is where you naturally draw your energy from. So an introvert, I'm spending time with you, I am talking to people in webinars, then after that, if I really don't spend time by myself, lock myself in my room, keep my kids at bay and all that, I actually get a headache. So it's my energy is like so low that I get a headache, I get grumpy. So my kids know that if I'm talking to a lot of people, I do need that 15-20 minutes break. So I recharge by drawing internally, and I like, just being quiet and just being reflective. An extrovert doesn't mean that they have to be with people 24/7. It's just that extrovert finds that they draw their energy from others. So when they're out with people, they get energized, and when the evening is over, they don't want to go home because the energy is there. The pool is there. So they want to hang out a bit more. And I have a lot of friends who are extroverted, and I always have have to say, okay, I've spent, I love you guys, but I got to
I'm
go.
out. Right.
I'm out. And they understand, but before I understood this, I actually felt guilty and I actually felt bad because I'm thinking, I like these people, but I can't seem to carry on talking to them. After a while, I really space out because I find it difficult, and I didn't understand where I draw my energy from then. So I went through this period of feeling very guilty, like, oh, is there something wrong with me? What's wrong? Are there social skills I need to pick up? Then now I'm definitely more relaxed about it, and I also encourage your listeners or anyone who's hearing this to say that it's okay. We all have our threshold. So even for extroverts, there is a threshold when they feel that that's enough, right? Because we're all people. And introversion, extroversion, we don't have to box ourselves in. So that's like a spectrum. So like you said, you being an introvert, no one would know you are an introvert because you are connected to your purpose. So when you speak passionately about what you do and what you care about, that's where the introversion sort of like, not say put aside, but you're willing to be extroverted for the purposes of, speaking into your purpose. Yeah.
That's so true. And for years, I actually assumed that I was an extrovert because I've never really been shy. And just like you said, that's kind of the mindset. Introverts are always shy. I had never really been shy, and I do well in a crowd. I can networking and things like that, meeting people, it drains me, but I do it well. And so when I started to read a little bit about introverts and extroverts and really started to look at that, I was like, oh my gosh, I am actually not an extrovert. I'm an introvert because I need, when I get refueled, it's time by myself. It's being alone. It's that, I'll go speak to a group of people and have a great time, and it's wonderful, but then I have got to be by myself. And so, that made so much sense. So people today, I will tell people, and I always add social introvert so they understand, but they'll say, you're not an introvert. And I'm like, yes, really, I am.
Yes, it's like if you carry on talking with me for another hour or so, I'll probably say, no, Stephanie, I've got to go off.
I will be done. Exactly. That's exactly. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm done. My bedtime is like, 8:30. So I'm good to go. So I love that. So what are the issues then, especially when you're talking about women empowerment and women in leadership or whatever that may be? What are some of the issues that introverts deal with?
Because we're very reflective and because we introspect a lot, and for women, we tend to be quite critical as well. So a lot of things remain in our head, right? We mull about it and we toy about it, while everything else is going on externally. You don't put your ideas out, and sometimes the moment just passes. So I've coached clients who were told to be more visible by their manager, who says that, we really need to hear what you say because I know you have things to say, but it's not coming out. Right. And she feels that, it's not 100% good enough. For her, it isn't good enough. So I coach them to not focus on themselves so much. Yes, you can introspect, you can mull about it, you can prepare. So introverts need a lot of preparation, especially for presentations or speaking up in meetings. So if the person has prepared, they will be able to speak out in meetings. Their challenge is those brainstorming meetings, or where you got meetings with extroverts just talking, extroverts just talking. There is no window of opportunity for them to speak up and to push themselves to be spontaneous and to speak up. They hold themselves back. So even for those kind of spontaneous meetings, you do need to plan. So a factual situation was that, I told her, could you actually tell your manager to call on you? So like, okay, with everyone talking.
That's a
great
kind of idea.
You partner with your manager in the back, like this kind of meetings. The manager calls on you and you know that he will call on you and you've prepared something. So that's just for you to get that initial confidence. You probably tell him that I feel a bit, not that comfortable to speak on my own yet. Especially if you're new to a team and your team is very extroverted. So he can call on you. He's like, Stephanie, okay, we've heard about what Bob and John has said. What about you, Stephanie? What's your view on it? And then you speak and then you see how it goes. So a lot of times I tell my clients that you need to shift the focus outwards. What is that person requiring of you?
Yeah.
If the information, if you're supposed to prepare a sales report, does that person need to know like the origins of that particular product? Because if a sales guy, he just needs to know, how can I pitch to my client? And you are the product expert, right? So you don't need it to be perfect. You could just give her a 3-pointer. But then she's saying that, oh yeah, but I need to be really certain of everything. I said, if that is the purpose, that's more for you. It's not for that recipient, right? So it's just understanding what the recipient of that information wants. Yeah. So I mean, these are just very practical things for the workplace. I guess in general is tell yourself and I to ask this question to myself many times when I started my business and even now, if I hold everything back in, who am I depriving of its benefits? So let's just say I'm talking about introversion, but I feel shy or I feel awkward. I don't want to talk about that. So imagine all the listeners out there who are introverts, who are struggling to say whether people understand them. So I'm holding back this sharing, right? Because as you know, when we talk about it, we feel less alone, especially if someone like you, Stephanie, say, hey, Jenny, I know, I hear you, I get you. And your listeners will be like, wow, okay, someone else is going through the same thing with me. So when you focus on how you can help another person, that will, get you motivated to say what you need to say.
Wow. It's so interesting because when my oldest was really young, she's 21 now. And when she was, I don't know, she was in elementary school. She was so shy. You could almost see her turn into herself. I mean, it was just visible. And definitely, obviously, a self-confidence issue that was being experienced. And she was she's a dancer. And so when she would go into a class and she would be, really internal and just and so I talked to her one day and I said, everyone in that room probably feels the exact same way you do, that they are feeling, self-conscious. Especially for things like auditions, they may not feel, secure in themselves. They may not have confidence, but the difference is how people display that. And some people go in and just display that with, with confidence, whether they have it internally or whether they're just portraying confidence, who knows? But having that conversation really changed the perception of what it means to be confident, what it means to be shy, and that you can actually behave in a way that you don't feel internally. And it changed the trajectory of her dancing career. So I think that sometimes we think we have to behave in a way that we feel, and we don't.
That's beautiful, Stephanie. Thanks for sharing that. And a lot of times we can acknowledge that we feel these things. Like, for example, your daughter in a dance audition. What is the purpose that she's there for? She's there to give her best for that dance audition. So when you really reconnect with that purpose, it doesn't matter. You're not competing with others. You just want to do your best. If you let go of like being competitive or comparison. So I mean, unfortunately, comparing yourself with others is very common.
Yes, we all do it. We all do it.
We all do it. Yeah, if you visit a Facebook page, I remember, years ago, I was joking with my husband. I said, they have the nicest house. Look at ours. Then my husband said, would anyone post a messy living room on Facebook?
Yes. No.
But I think with the pandemic, a lot of people have posted their messy living room, right? Because there's nothing else to take. But before that, it was nice living room. And my husband said, people only post good things on social media. So, even for adults like us, we tend to compare as well.
That's true.
So a lot of times introverts will introspect and like, I'm not good enough. She can do all that. I can't do all that. So you are too much in yourself. Recognize that you are thinking that, and then focus on what you need to do, whether it's at work or whether it's in your life. What is it that you really need to do? If you keep holding yourself back, how would that feel 1 month down the road, 2 months down the road. And that's what I asked myself when I was thinking about launching the business. I was thinking, no, I've come this far, right? If I don't do it, then the what if is going to kill me. So I need to do it. Yes, it's scary. You don't know what's really going to happen, but when you push yourself out there, take one small step outside your comfort zone. And before you know it, that becomes your new comfort zone. You're like, okay, why was I scared? In the beginning, then you push yourself one step out. So I never tell my clients, okay, if you want to be a CEO in 10 years time, start seeing what that looks like. Right. Yes, it's good to just imagine that, but then you work yourself backwards. If I want to be CEO in 10 years time, what skills do I need now? Right. Who do I need to speak now? What do I need to do a bit differently now? So it can be small steps now, leading up towards your big goal.
That's great. Now, how long do you typically work with a client?
Oh, it depends. Like what you said in the beginning, it's very client-centric. So it depends on the client's goal. So I have had clients just come to me for 2-3 sessions because they need to have a performance review conversation. That's all they needed. Sure. Okay. Because they can't discuss with their colleagues because they are conflict. They can't go to their manager and say, let me bounce these ideas off you. So that's very specific. So you don't need a long coaching session. Whereas there are clients who's been with me for 6 months and more because they're thinking more about the life purpose, what they really want for their lives, and it covers all angles. Usually women want to start with their careers because they feel that that's where they need the most help, but after that they realize that okay, it's more than career, it's also personal growth. It's also how do I show up as in the family, whether you're a daughter, a sister, a wife, or a mother, what's your role in the family. And some people feel that there must be more to this. I've got a good job, I've got a good family, but I want to give something to the community. So I've had people come to me and say, I need to do more, but I don't know what. Yeah, so it's a lot of different topics that people bring. And I think ultimately it's just trying to find what's your identity and in this place that you are put in.
That's good. Is there any time where people would just continue coaching? They're coaching on this topic, and now I'm going to move to this topic, and now I'm going to move to this topic, that you have a coach for life?
Well, you don't want to have a coach for life.
That's kind of the opposite of coaching, right?
And I'm not saying it's like a parent-child relationship, because a coach-client relationship, we are equals. I'm your accountability partner. I'm your sounding board. I'm the one who's not in your life, and yet you are comfortable to tell me everything, possibly even things that you don't tell anyone else, because it's all in your thoughts. Especially for introverts, they don't tell all these things to anyone else because they're worried that what would people think. So the power in coaching is providing this safe space of non-judgment and really being empathetic. So yes, there will be issues where you think that, okay, I'm done with this, I want to do this. So I've coached clients who said, I've got top 3 things that I want to work on. So let's start. So they're very focused. Let's start with this first thing. And once we're done, let's work on this second thing and then this third thing. On the other hand, I've got clients who are like, I really don't know what to talk about. So can you tell me what I should be coached on? I don't give the answers. I just tell them, well, look at your life right now. Where do you think you're at? What do you think you're really enjoying? And what do you think you could improve? So we can have that kind of initial conversation for them to identify what areas they want to grow in. I think the beauty is when the client says, I don't need you anymore, Jenny, because I'm good. Of all the things that we've talked about, I now know my own strengths. I now have the inner resources. I now know the direction. I might come back to you 6 months down the road when things falter. So you could say it's a start-stop type of relationship. You get a good foundation, you go ahead, and then you think that, okay, maybe I want to come back and reevaluate my goals. I don't believe it in I'm your lifelong coach, because ultimately it's your life, right? I am just here to help you for this season of your life.
You're kind of a guide just to push you along the way.
I would say that I am your traveling partner. You will tell me where you want to go. So I'm never in the driver's seat. I'm never in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat. You're driving, and of course, safety first. We talk a lot about trust and safety in a coaching session. So whatever you tell me is confidential and never be used anywhere else. So it's more like you're driving, you're so focused on the destination. I'll say, why don't we stop for a while? Take a break. See what's around you. And how do you feel? Because sometimes when we're so focused, we are driving towards our goal, ignoring everything at the side. And for women, we rarely celebrate our successes. It's like, I don't think I'm successful yet. Well, what do you mean you're not successful? You know, if your best friend looks at you right now, what would she say? It's easier for us to be kinder, supportive, more empathetic towards others. We are so hard on ourselves.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. That's good. That's really good. So you have obviously come a long way in your life. You are successful. You are doing things that not only really probably empower you, but empower others. And that is amazing. What would you say to little Jenny? Little Jenny, who
I do have little Jennies. I mean, I have 2 girls and a son. But you're saying to the younger me, right?
Your Jenny, yes, the little you that if you could go back and give your little Jenny advice, or you, I guess, what would you say?
Don't worry so much, because if I reflect, I worried a lot. And I think when I was, really in the legal career, it was my training to look out for worst case scenarios.
Right.
So in the professional side, I'm always looking for worst case scenarios so that I can plan my case. Because I was a trial attorney. So it's always like, what's the other person going to say? So I need to defend my case, or I need to prepare my case, so that it's foolproof. And then that trickled into life as well.
Well, yeah, that's your training.
Yeah, but I think even as a child, because I was shy and introverted, a lot of it was in my head. So I was always preparing, like, if I say this, what will people think and all that. So I worried a lot. And I think as I grew up, that is still that trait. And I would tell my younger self, don't worry so much. Things will work out. It may not work out the way you wanted, but it will work out somehow. So that's what I'm telling myself when I start worrying again, and what's going to happen. And I'm like, okay, don't worry, God's got this.
Yes,
exactly. You just do your part. Yep. You just do your part.
That is so good. I've just loved this conversation. I think what you do is so fascinating because coaching, I mean, there are coaches all over, but to coach women that, have that introverted trait, and obviously you can coach extroverts as well, but I think there is such an important piece to that. And what an amazing, because it only an introvert truly would know how to really understand what another introvert is experiencing. And I think that is really powerful. I love that.
Yeah. We would never push another introvert to say, go out there, just speak, just speak.
Do it.
Yeah, just do it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But yes, ultimately the goal is to just do it. But I encourage my clients to reflect, how to do it in their own way. And yes, you may have to put on an extroverted spurt. If it's like a half an hour meeting, that's when you put out your most extroverted self. Then how do you regain your energy after that? Yeah. So that you don't feel that, I just put on a show, I'm so fake. It's not that. You were extroverted for that period because there was a purpose for it. Yeah. What was that purpose? So you anchor in that purpose clearly. Then after that, you do what you need to get your energy back. Yeah.
That is really good. Okay, final question. Sure. What does resilience mean to you?
Well, the standard dictionary meaning is the ability to bounce back, right? Interesting that you should ask. I did run workshops on resilience in 2020 because I think that was like not say the trendy topic, but people needed to hear that. And I was running webinars, I was doing workshop, and I asked someone, what do you think are you resilient? And then she said, no, I'm not, So I said, what do you understand by resilience? Then she said, someone who's strong, and I'm not strong. So then I take her through her life experiences, what she went through, really specific examples, each moment and all that. Then after she said all that, I said, I hear an extremely resilient person because you went through A, B, C, D, and here you are today talking to me. And she was just dumbfounded. She said, I didn't know that was resilience. That was just me making the most of what I can. So people have a misconception that resilience is this strong woman or this strong man who just brave through it all. No, we are all struggling. It's just that when life hits us or life throws us a curveball, what happens? Yes, you get knocked down and you spend time being knocked down. But after that, if you're able to see, okay, what can I do with this? What can I learn or grow from this? And then you take small steps to, to grow from it or to learn from it, or even to share your experiences from it. So a lot of people, they talk about this, what they go through, in podcasts, in blogs, and for the purposes of encouraging others to say that you're not alone. So for me, resilience, we were all resilient. It's just that what do you make of the circumstances that you're in? Whether, you bring yourself out of it, or, you realize that I need help. That's also resilience, because resilience doesn't mean, oh, I'm stuck in this by myself, I don't know what to do, I'll just stay stuck. Resilience is also resourcefulness. So I'm stuck, I reach out to another coach friend to say, hey, I'm really stuck. What can I do? And then when we talk about that, it helps. So yeah, it's a very broad definition. I would say, we're all resilient. It's just how you deal with the circumstances that you're in.
I love that. That is great. Now, Jenny, one more time, how can people find you?
Okay, so I have a website, www.riverlifecoaching.com. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn under the company, which is River Life Coaching, or you can connect with me personally as well under Jenny Toh. And I'm sure you're going to put all this in your show notes.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. I will do that. And I've loved this conversation. I appreciate what you're doing and what you've gone through, and now you're using that to help other people. I think that's fantastic. So thank you,
Stephanie.
Oh, I've had a great time. I appreciate it. And I will be connecting with you. So thank you so much.
Definitely. Yes,
all right. And thank you for listening and being a part of Resilience in Life and Leadership. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. Please share with anyone you think will benefit from this podcast.